But yeah, I was
Actually,
just
hold on a minute.
what?
Well, keep going. I'm just gonna get the book.
I was like, what's Ken about to pull out right now? I don't know what's going on.
A lot of these companies, they want to see if you can put it together a comic book. That's the final result, the finished product, to see if you can create it and make it look great front to back. The narrative storytelling's on point, the color schemes and the lettering's there. That's what they care about.
It's like the best business card in the world is pulling out a full 24-page comic and putting it into an editor's hand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Comics Grind. I am one of your hosts, Nico Rodriguez.
And I'm Ken, aka Comic Ken on YouTube.
And thank you so much for joining us for another weekly comics discussion. Today we have another awesome guest in the house. His name is ZACK MAROIS, writer,
What's up,
artist,
guys?
Cartoonist, designer, letterer, all that good stuff. Most known for his comic called VOYAGE. Is that right, Zach?
Yep. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Zach, man, appreciate you being on the show today. How you doing?
Doing all right. I just finished up drawing for Inktober. I'm moving on to the next one. Thinking about either Cerebus or Scud. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's some damn good choices, man.
Yeah, I mean Cerebus is a controversial one, but
Yeah,
you know, you can't hate on what he started out with, because that character is an influential character to people like Todd McFarlane and Kevin Eastman, Pale Aired back in the day.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
sure.
It was one of the big ones back in the day, like with like the indie comic scene and whatnot. It might have been up there with TMNT if the creator didn't go off the deep end, you know.
Yeah, I mean the problem. I mean, we all know the issues there, but
I
I
won't
found
get into that yet.
yeah, I'm not
just-
yeah.
Yeah,
I just find it funny that when Todd McFarlane hit record-breaking issue 300 for the Guinness World Records, like there was no mention beforehand. So I was like, okay, that's funny.
Really, wow. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, so for our viewers, we just want to get to know you first. Like I met you at the Kubert School. Crazy first couple of years with you and everyone there, man. You were RA, I remember that, and just kind of give people a rundown of who is Zach and why do you want to be a comic artist? Like, what got you into comics?
So I'm pretty based, unfiltered. I don't do the politics in comic books. You know, I just I tend to speak without thinking. It's kind of like who I am as a personality. You know, I like to have fun. You know, and whatnot. But you know, the fun side of me, you know, I also have the professional side. So I, you know, when I put on, you know, my, you know, business hat on, you know, I go right into what I need to get done. So I'm very tunnel visioned into the things that I need to take care of. I'm extremely passionate about the comic book industry. Always have been, even though the state of it right now, it still doesn't deter me away. It just kind of motivates me more. Be like, all right, well, you know, I got my own thing, so I'm gonna, you know, keep pushing on that. But yeah, you know, we definitely met at the Kubert School. We've had some great times.
Yeah.
But it's been a challenge as a graduate, being outside, you know, and whatnot. That's a challenge.
Yeah. So did you and Ken graduate together, or you are an RA whenever he started? Is that how it went?
Ken was a year under me. So when I was RA, I was the RA for the second year. And I mean, Ken can attest. I mean, am I able to say a couple things? You know, some of the crazy stuff. All right. So I was smoking weed in the RA room. You know, me and a couple of the guys, we would get high as fuck in the room and just kind of just really, you know, we would just like get so baked that we're like, you know, dude, like why are we waiting on this shit? Why can't we just make, do this comic book, because I self-published my first Voyage book as during third year, but I was working on it all a second year.
Yeah.
And I congregated 23 people together, including myself. So it was a challenge, but, one of the things that was really, a huge stress reliever was, getting high. But yeah, I was
Actually, hold
I
on
was
a minute.
off. What?
Well, keep going. I'm just gonna get the book.
Okay. So,
I was
yeah,
like, what's Ken about to pull out right now? I don't know what's going
yeah,
on.
I mean, dude, we would have parties, we would drink, we would just do everything under the sun at the Kubert School mansion because, people say it's like a frat house, and to some extent, that could, it could very well be true, but the Kubert School was so intensive that, when you were doing your homework and then you're kind of good for the day, you want to go ahead and relax. You gotta unwind.
So
And that's the book right there.
Yep.
Nice.
First volume, first edition, first everything of Voyage.
Wow. And that all started at the Kubert School, or right?
It did.
Before that? Yeah.
So I was in a classroom, and I was one of those guys. I'm not a writer. I just knew exactly what I wanted to do, and put it on paper. But in order to figure out a canon story arc, you gotta write that out. So I was at that point. I'm just writing everything thoroughly, and one of my teachers, Max Fuse, I was talking about Voyage or just Sondron in general. And I was like, when I get out of the school, I'm going to go ahead and start on the comic on issue 1. And Max got it. Max got an accent. He's got a humor to him. He talks funny. So he's like, why not just start the book now? And, it's just kind of, I was like, yeah, I was trying to find an excuse as to why I couldn't. But then when I got back to the mansion, I was like, well, no, he's fucking right. Why can't I start on it now? What's really stopping me? So I hauled out. I'm like, well, I can't do a full issue being in the school. I have to work with some people, and everyone else that I know. Sorry. Everyone else that I know, like my roommates, some of the other people, they also had OCs. Ken had an OC at the time, and I'm like, I'll just grab these fucking people together, and we're gonna go ahead and do a couple pages of narratives. I'll throw it in the book, and call it a day. And I was very, being story driven. I was like, well, I got to make sure every story kind of makes sense. So I had to, implement. I'm like, all right, how does this work? And because Sondron is an alien, he can go anywhere. Aliens can do anything, go anywhere. They break the time barrier. Who knows if they can travel through dimensions? So I worked out a time stream through the book, figuring out what's going to start and what's going to end in it. So that was the story of, that whole ordeal.
Nice. How many issues has it been so far?
So the anthology, it's complicated because the anthology was the first thing that I did while in the school, and when I got out, I launched the Voyage the Call, which was a Lovecraftian horror sci-fi story, one shot, because the anthology only had a 10-page story with my character, Sondron. He was in other people's stories, but he wasn't the main guy. So I was like, all right, I need an issue. I got to do a comic and, see how he really goes, through this, through the pages and narrative. And I was like, I pulled that off. I got it funded on Kickstarter. That was a success. I got 157.58 backers on that. And everyone loved it. They're like, dude, we need to see more. So I was like, all right. I was planning on a sequel to the anthology novel, bringing everyone back and then some. Like the first novel was 88 pages. The second one was going to be 200 pages.
Wow.
It was lit. Like the thing was ready to go. We just needed to get it funded, and it failed. So it set me back, a little bit. And I was like, you know what? It's really stressful, trying to watch over that many people, deadlines and everything like that. I haul ass, I work my ass off, and to have to watch over some people who are really late, you know, who kind of, you know, just, you know, take their time, like I'm like months. I'm just like, I can't do that. It takes a toll on somebody with patience. So I was like, dude, I'm just gonna work on my series, get that started, and get it issue 1, and you know, there we go. So I you know, I've, you know, put together issue 1. I launched a few months ago, like 3-4 months ago, and it failed. So I'm launching it again now at the moment, and I'm trying to get it funded because the first issue is 48 pages. I'm hitting everyone with everything that I got with this character.
Gotcha.
Nice, man. But yeah, I was wondering, man, like, you've got your daughter now, and that was, I don't know how many weeks ago, dude. But how does being a father like affect your current comics output, your vision, your motivation? How's it affecting you right now?
It's very stressful. Honestly, like, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna keep it real. I'm on I'm on the verge of cracking a little bit, like, because it's one thing when, you know, like, you know, when I didn't have my daughter, like, you know, I'm pulling through, you know, I'm like, all right, I'll fucking do it again. You know, I'll just keep doing commissions. I'll do that, whatever. You know, then, you know, you'll have people tell you like, all right, if it's not working, you might as well just try something else, a different career or whatever. So I barely got any sleep.
No, you're good.
Yeah, dude, it like, you know, constantly tired. And now that I have my daughter, I'm like, well, dude, I can't keep failing like this. I need to, you know, I need to get some wins in now, and I need to like work harder than I was before, which, you know, I'm already a hard worker with this stuff. So, you know, like Ken knows, like, you know, I push myself to the limit all the time, and you know, like, I just need to. I need, like, knowing that she's there. I need her to grow up knowing that I'm like, this is what I do. You know, it may not be pulling in money for me now, but I know it's got to be later on. I has to. I got to keep, you know, going for it.
Yeah.
I can imagine, man. I don't have any kids, but I have a puppy, and that's hard enough, man. Like, I'm over here, you know, you work the full-time job, you get home, you walk the dog, he begs for food, he does this, does that. I'm like, man, like, leave me alone. I can only imagine, man, like being a new father and trying to, you know, continue with this stuff. It's got to be crazy, dude. So props for you to you know, keep at it, man. That's
thank you.
As far as so how does your workflow go now? So, like, you know, me, like, I'm a pretty structured person, right? So, like, whenever I was, before I got done painting my book, I was, you know, doing, you know, penciling and inking everything, and I would like pencil a page a night, then ink it the next night, and then so forth and so on. Do you have kind of like a structured routine now, or is it a lot harder with the kid involved now?
It's very hard now. It's not so much that, you know, now that she's born, it makes it very difficult for me. It's the fact that, so I'm like, so that this drawing right here that I just finished up, like, today, I started it today, finished it up because it's my day off. I'm rusty a little bit, you know, because I'm spending so much time trying to make sure that my campaign is, you know, really well, you know, throughout the launch, you know, trying to get backers. You got to hit up podcasters, got to hit up, you know, YouTubers, and you got to post, schedule that stuff. You got to create that stuff in Photoshop. You have to, you know, you got to like take up old shit and just scan it in, and, you know, just conjure up, like, you know, things here and there. You got to go through stuff and be like, all right, do I want to give this away? Do I want to raffle that off? Do I? And all that stuff, it's a headache, because you have to, you know, you got to get that campaign. If the campaign don't fund, then you're shit out of luck. Like, you might as well just stop working. But it's taken some time away from me from the drafting table. I'll come home from work. I'm a FedEx driver, so I'm out from 8 a.m. to like 6, 7 o'clock when I get back. And, you know, I have to, you know, create, you know, posts and whatever. So it takes time away from me just wanting to draw, you know. So
Right.
when I do a campaign, yeah, it's hectic. It's a free for all. So when I'm not campaigning, I'm very good. Like I'll get a you know, at minimum I'll get a narrative page done a week. I'll you know, I can, you know, do a 9x12 drawing, you know, as a warm up or something at the same time. I like to keep it consistent and stuff so that way I can keep building it up. One of the other things that's taken a shit ton of time is you know, what Ken provided me was this book called Fuck the Algorithm by TZ.
Oh yeah.
I've been studying that, and a month and a half ago, I was at on Instagram. I had a following of 1,300. Now I'm at 2,020.
Nice.
So, you know, you have to have the following now if you're gonna try and get backers. And what I also just found out now, no matter how many backers you get now, still doesn't mean shit unless you pay for promotion ads. So unless you're paying for ads, you're not going anywhere with it.
Because we actually got a different philosophy on that from another like Kickstarter guy. He said ads is not like, it's not the best thing to invest in. It doesn't bring that much return. So he said he didn't really implement that as much into his strategy as much as like the other things that he was doing to promote his work. But I don't know if it's different for you or if it's different for your comic and how that's working out.
I'm always trying different methods left and right, you know. And it's discouraging because, you know, those methods aren't working. So I'm like, all right, you know, what is the next thing that I need to figure out? And you know, like I'll be on the phone with you, Ken, you know, like
Yeah,
being
we'll talk
like
all the time.
frustrated. Yeah, we'll be like, dude, I'm like, oh man, I'm fucking frustrated. I can't figure this out. You know, maybe I'll work on a jam piece. Like just recently, I finished up this double page spread with 73 independent comic characters.
Jesus.
Fully penciled out. I got somebody inking it. She's actually going to be done in a couple days from now, and then that's going to get colored. And I was like, maybe if I do that piece, get that finished up, and then send that through social media, maybe people will share that, you know, and be like, oh, who is this guy? Or, damn, this piece is awesome. Where can I possibly get something like that? And then they come over to my campaign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, it's insane the levels of promotion that we have to do nowadays. I mean, god dang, like doing a 70-piece double page spread. And I assume you're hiring a inker and a colorist to help you out. It's like you have to put in all this effort and money just to, you know, reach the people. It's insane.
You're probably not going to see it well.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but I mean, I can certainly see a bunch of lines, so I know that.
Yeah, it's just
I can imagine it will.
It's a huge mess. I mean, it's really sick because, you know, I'm throwing characters in there like I threw Cyberfrog, Bloodbone, Grendel, TMNT, Crimstone, like just all like a wide variety of characters. Like it doesn't matter about the politics or whatever. It's the staple of importance of what that, you know, that book has done.
Right.
You know, and that's, you know, that's important, you know, because that's taken an effect in the comic book industry. So
right.
Yeah, like, you know, it's like, all right, you know, that was an idea, and I'm still trying to figure out ideas because you know, that idea could very well just, you know, fail when I, you know, throw it on social media. It couldn't. You know, it probably won't even get 500 views. I don't know.
Nobody knows. It's like it's almost a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Like you could do anything. You could try everything in the kitchen sink, but you just never know exactly what will finally like work. But go ahead. Were you about to say something?
No, I'm all good.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess with that being said, let me see. Yeah, is making comics anything like you thought it would be when you first started out? And then like how would you compare what you thought it would be like to what your current reality is? And then how do you actually want it to look like in the future?
That's actually that's a good question. When I was a young kid, I never like, breaking into, reading comics and be like, this is what I want to do. When I figured that out in 5th grade, I'm like, this is what I want to do in my life. I
Right.
never thought that politics had a play in comics at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. I just thought
Uh-huh.
you needed to get good at what you were doing and
Mhm.
then go try to get a job. And that's what, that's how it was,
Right.
But, I get older. I'm now 18, 19 years old. I'm drawing a bunch of these shitty ass comics before I went to the Kubert School, and they were just terrible. But it was somewhere. And I break into the Kubert School, and I was like, "This is it. This is where I need to be." And I accelerated really fast. With I knew what I wanted. Everything that I thought I knew was just out the window because I'm learning it from the instructors themselves who worked in the industry.
Mhm.
And so I was like, "Okay, this is really great. This is awesome." And then I get out of the Kubert School, and then I start. I get into the crowdfunding. Environment, and now it's changed. Like now things are like, it's not about how good you are, it's who you know. And
Mm.
if you're a conservative, wave goodbye to your career. That's gonna, and I hate to say that, like I really do, but I see it all the time. I talk to people that their careers get damaged from that. They it's all about the the politic game with what it's all about in comic books, like
Uh,
changing this character's gender, doing that, and it just completely just changes the whole outlook for me. And
right.
for me personally, I don't let that kind of stuff affect me because I'm like, I focus on the storytelling. I know that I have a good product, and I'm
Mhm.
going to keep working on that. And I'm not going to give up on it. I just have to, keep pushing. What I hope to see myself in the future is, I hope that, something happens. All the work that I like, that I kept, going in on, I hope it just finally clicks. Like something happened and bam, now I'm getting people funding my stuff. Anytime I
Well,
get a book, it's funded.
yeah, let me actually like clarify that question, like dig into the specifics of it. Like when you wake up, what do you see yourself doing throughout the day? Like maybe you might not be like a rich millionaire or whatever, but let's say in the next 5 or so years, or maybe even 10 years, like when you wake up, what do you see yourself doing throughout the day? And then like even income goals, like what do you see yourself well off, or do you see yourself like still struggling, or like where do you see yourself in about 5, 10 years?
Hopefully, I wake up. I go to my drafting table. I knock out like a couple commissions for people that have hit me up for it. I got to take care of a narrative page or two. And then I get that, scanned in, hit up a couple editors, like, submit some
Right.
deadline stuff, and, just, take care of my daughter, if she's got to go to school or something like that, I'll
Mhm.
take her there, just that whole thing. And that's something I've always wanted. Like, I've always liked stressing out on my drafting table, trying to be like, God, I fucking
Yeah.
hate this drawing. 3-point perspective, this is kicking my ass. And,
Right.
I like, I I don't like driving. I don't like working
Right.
in the regular world with all that like nonsense because it just takes away from my time, drawing to get better and better. Because I
Yeah.
still think I suck as an artist personally.
Same.
Even though some people can disagree, but for me to get better, I got to keep doing it. So, and
Right.
when I work at a daytime job, it takes me away from it.
Yeah. But you know what I'll say about that specific point? Like the way you just like everything you just described is literally what my mentor like Nick Pitera is living. Pretty much every day he just wakes up, he goes to the drawing table, and he has to like do pages or hit up editors or prepare stuff for like backer materials and whatnot. And that's basically what he does every day. And he's basically like he's well off enough to just do this full time every day and take care of his daughters pretty much. So um I'd say it's like it's very possible. It's just finding that code, like trying to crack that nut, like figure it out now
Yeah.
so that you launch yourself towards that future, if that
Yep.
makes sense.
No,
There's
absolutely.
there's something about it nowadays that it seems like all these codes to be cracked are just like ever changing, man.
Yeah.
That's what I feel, because it's like, at one point in comics history there was somewhat of a formula, even like, when the formula was like, okay, make your name at Marvel DC, spin off, you got a name now, you can do an image book, and then boom, everything kind of rolls out like that. But I don't even think that that's even the pathway anymore, or even if it's viable, because I don't know if enough people are digging into Marvel DC stuff to kind of make that like this extra component of like your career, man. It just seems like the target is always moving, and that's why like for me, like I just do my work, and then I'm gonna put it out there in some regard. I'm gonna go to shows, show it to publishers, show it to editors, those kinds of things, and then let the chips fall where they land, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, it feels like it just changes all the time, like week to week almost.
Week to week, yeah.
I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
I think it depends on like the style of art that you're drawing, because Nico, your style would work for like independent comics, like maybe like an underground magazine or something,
Yeah.
like, or even like Image Comics if you paired up with a writer. But yeah, I mean, those avenues are probably still open where you can send out pitch packages to different like publishers and try to get published that way, or like in Oni Press or Boom Studio or IDW. But I don't know, it's like you don't have to anymore. And then if you choose not to, you make so much more of that money for yourself instead of having to share it with like a publisher and all that. It's like everyone's looking, okay, do videos, do podcasts, do crowdfunding, do Kickstarter, do all this stuff to make your own pathway, to carve your own path into comics. Because we've had a few people on the show, and every single person has a different way they got into like making money on their comics and marketing and getting attention on social media and whatnot. So one last thought on that is like, I think people who start off online have an easier time selling their stuff online and offline, and then people who are who have a easier time selling offline have a hard time breaking into the online space and trying to get build a following on social media if they don't already have one.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. You need to like build those things concurrently. You can't really like do one
Yeah.
first and then
Mhm.
one question to you guys. Do you think that it's kind of essential to have like a published credit to your name? Meaning, um, is there some kind of like credibility that is added in like your Instagram bio if you say, published by Aftershock or published by so and so publisher? Do you think that like that still holds a lot of weight nowadays?
I think it does, because an average person, not me, because being like as a comic fan and whatnot, if I'm going to an account and I'm like, oh, I like this guy's content, I'll follow him, even though he's not published, but I really like his shit. There's that. But an average person will, in their mindset, just kind of like, well, if he's not picked up by anybody, or if he's not published or whatever, I'm not going to follow him because he's a nobody. And that is a truth, like it really is. And so there's a lot of followers that are just lost. That's why, I think from my bio, I think it's Doorstar Comics founder or something like that, or or whatever. And I'll throw my campaign up on there, but I try to have it in a way where I'm like, yeah, I am this, worked for Dynamite, I've done this. And people will be like, all right, I want to follow this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I still continue to struggle with and stuff, because it's like, am I, do you make the product to hope to get it published by one of these guys, or do you make the product to just get it all self-published yourself, and it's kind of like there's like that line where it's, like you said, there's a lot of validation, quote unquote, that people see when they see, oh, you got a book with so and so publisher. But then it's also like, am I making myself to like please another person, aka an editor that says, hey, your stuff is good enough for our company? Or am I making the stuff because it's the book I want to read, and I'm going to put it out to the people who want to read it? I don't know. It's something that's, that's always in the back of my mind when I'm making my books and stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Kind of had that thought there.
It is tough, because I struggle with trying to, because my buddy Nick, he tells me, he's like, dude, you got to stop doing that. Where I'm wondering, I'm like, damn, how does this person, like, what does this person think of me? Or, how does this person see me as, if I'm trying to be, like, not getting cool with them, or just like, if I'm doing stuff over here, I just don't want to, I don't want to upset people, or, just trying to not piss other people off, or, kind of create a controversy or something, because I'm just, I'd like to get some work. I want to pick up and get some work for here, for that. Or I hope that I'm good enough to, try to, get, in good graces for an editor to give me higher. But I can't think like that. I have to be like, no, here's my portfolio. I hope to hear from you soon, and not worry about, oh, damn, I hope he likes my work, kind of thing. Like, because that takes a toll on you, on your health.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
I remember Apex Legends. I'm a huge Apex Legends player, and I was doing a lot of Apex Legends fan art at the time. And Dynamite, was it Dynamite? Dark Horse got the rights to do Apex Legends comics. I jumped so fucking quick on that. Submitting portfolios, that fan art and stuff to them, because the art was garbage. I was like, dude, this is terrible. The art on the inside was just bad.
Oh, okay, on the actual comic.
Yeah, I was like, damn, this is so bad. I could do this, fucking justice, man. And it canceled. Like, I don't think they finished it up completely. And there goes that. I'm like, well, there goes the potential for that brand. I remember hitting up the writer to Titanfall, be like, hey, here's some of my pieces and stuff. You're writing the comic book. What do you think? He's like, yeah, dude, I really like your stuff. But unfortunately, it's out of my control when it comes to that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know who's, I'm not experienced enough in that side of comics to know like how the decision making happens, but I assume it's just is it editors that are out there scouting, online and everything, and those are the guys that kind of make the shot calls and everything. So I don't know. I'm not too familiar with all that processing, but it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I'd like to pivot over to talk a little bit more about Voyage, Sondron, and get a better idea of like what is it people are getting into when we get into Sondron and his character, his journey. Like, who is Sondron, and like what was the original inspiration for him?
So the basis of the book was, when you watch sci-fi films like Alien and Predator, and Resident Alien and stuff like that, when you see stuff like that, Avatar with the Na'vi people, there's always humans in it. Why are they the main characters? Why are they such an important factor in this event? And I just don't see the importance to it. Like, I think, like, dude, if you want to do a Predator movie, do it without the humans, where they're on their own home planet doing dope ass stuff. And that was pretty much the basis, because you had characters like Zen Intergalactic Ninja, Cyberfrog. You had this new character Sen from Voyages, that just funded recently on that premise,
Mm.
and it's successful. It's really successful. They don't have to have humans in that to make it make people associate and try to what's the word, compare or
Connect with like the human.
connect. Thank you. Yeah, you can do that human element with that non-human character. So that was the basis to the comic book. Sonderon was a character for the inspiration. I had this since I was in like 6th grade, 7th grade. I remember watching the movie Green Lantern, and it was such a piece of shit film that like I had a tendency to create super characters off of the superhero movie that I just saw. So I created my version of a Blue Lantern for that, and then over time I just took that basic thing and I went ahead and just started changing it up, immensely. So that's where the inspiration was from. It actually came from Green Lantern
Really? Okay.
in the beginning, and then over time, Sonderon became this individual where it's like Indiana Jones in space. It's like if you're playing Mass Effect in a dystopian world where everything is broken and you're wondering what the hell is going on. There's artifacts shattered and scattered throughout the whole universe, and there's a hidden lore secret that, if you find all these pieces and unite it to the spear, you can unite the universe once more. And
Dope.
Sonderon is this village idiot that was forced with this quest that he didn't ask for, and he gets exiled from his own star system. And the issue 1 really starts off with him just getting exiled, and he heads to the first planet outside of his star system. And it's a domino effect to the events that are about to take place, where he just starts running his mouth. He's very gullible. He's tunnel visioned, and he sees something that happens in the first issue where he intervenes, and it creates a whole lot of eyes on him. And the police force or the space force is after him, trying to arrest him and get a blood sample and whatnot. And it just it's a whole domino effect of events. It just gets worse and worse for him. But he's just he's that guy that he's the only one of his kind that is of his own species that everyone hates. And because his species is tied to this dead religion that is closely related to that artifact. His star system is that system where all the things that went bad in the universe started. And he's the first one of his kind to leave and outside of that and interact with the real world around. And there's a lot of obstacles he's got to overcome because he just stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's looking great, man. How the campaign page and everything, like you definitely put some how long did it kind of take you to get this whole campaign page down?
A couple weeks, because a lot of the heavy work came from the Kickstarter, and I had my instructor Jan Dersima, who did a variant cover for this comic. She helped reword everything because she said it's all about the way you word it in a campaign to gain attention. It's all about the presentation. So I did a massive overhaul on this. So it wasn't that too much of a pain in the ass, but it is very stressful that, here I am launching again and I only got 20 backers at the moment.
Right.
And I hope that changes soon, but I'm not going to give up and, whatnot, but I got to haul ass big time. It still doesn't make sense. I've studied this for a couple of years now, very thoroughly, and no matter how many methods I've tried to do differently, it still takes me back to square one. Like, why isn't this gaining the attention that it's supposed to be getting?
Right.
Yeah,
man. It's and you even have like a trailer there too, right? Is it like a little animated trailer?
Yeah. I mean, I even put that trailer together myself just to save money.
Oh, nice.
Right, right. Zach, are you working traditionally or digitally or both?
Yep. So I pencil the I there's two stories in the book, which is why it's 48 pages, but I penciled and inked the second story and I'm penciling the first story. I am a traditional guy. I
Hmm.
like there's just something about traditionals. I haven't gotten that much time to practice digitally, just
Mm,
do everything through that. I'm so sorry.
you're good,
But
man.
yeah, like I haven't gotten enough time to really crack that egg. And to me, whenever I do my roughs digitally.
Hmm.
I plot my roughs in perspective on Procreate and whatnot because it's quick. It saves me time really fast. Then I'll print the roughs out and I'll do a tradition. I love traditional, and when people can tell if it's digital or if it's traditional, they
Hmm.
can tell that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's the I'm gonna start implementing that into my processing too, like doing the roughs on my iPad, because like I've just found like it's so much easier to move stuff around when you need to, instead of erasing a whole panel and redrawing it and everything like on the boards.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. Who's your colorist? Are you you're just doing the pencil and inking? You have a colorist that works with you?
So I'm doing the pencils. One of the Kubert School graduates, Ethan Farina, is inking it for me. And then my buddy, who pretty much does almost all my color work, is Nick Capone. He just
Okay.
funded a comic recently called Purity. He's done a comic book, Reign of Ages. He's really good. He's
Mm,
really good for a
yeah.
colorist. And it's very, with the way that I draw, it's hard for some people to put colors on my stuff. I have a certain look that I want it to be, so Nick is that guy, and I'm glad that I got somebody that early on that really captures that for me.
Yeah, looks great,
Nice.
man. Go ahead, Ken. You had another question?
Yeah. Um. So I guess. What would you say is like three pieces of media? It could be books, comics, movies, or anything that would help people understand what Voyage is.
Mass
That makes
Effect
sense.
for video, yeah, Mass Effect for video games. That's a immediate go-to.
Yep.
For comic books, Voyages that just came out hits the
Hmm.
nail on the head for the message I try to get across. So Voyages for Image that was done
Hmm.
by Sumeik Hesjen and Zen Intergalactic Ninja created by Dan Cody, Steve Stern. And for if I had to think of a novel, I would have to say for movie Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid.
Uh-huh.
And for a novel, I would have to say, um, damn, dude, Del Toro's Quest.
Del
Not
Toro's
familiar.
Quest.
And you
Yeah,
remember
that sounds
back,
like a manga.
um, I know there was an anime thing that they did on it, but I know Emily Rada. I do have it. How to Draw book. When we were kids, Ken, this used to be in the Scholastic Book Fair. Um,
I remember Scholastic Book Fairs.
Del Toro's Quest.
Okay, yeah, I've
Uh,
heard of Del Toro's Quest.
yeah,
Sure.
this book series was such a grab, man. It was as successful as the Animorphs books, where
Oh,
you had
really?
like the kids turning into the animals, and then
Yeah. Freaking
Goosebumps. Like it was
Ken,
Del
weird.
Toro's Quest, Animorphs, and Goosebumps that were big grabs.
Ken,
Yeah.
are you familiar with Animorphs? Are you too
Yeah.
young? Okay.
No, no, no.
Okay,
I,
I was, I was
good.
about to
never
say
read any of them because they looked really weird. But I saw all the covers.
weird.
Like,
Look
yeah,
bad.
when I was in the library, I'd see these kids like just turning into like a
Yeah.
slug
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or a snake or
They did some of
frog.
those kids dirty too.
Yeah.
Like with some of them, it's so funny. I used to
Yeah.
be in the library room, just in the corner, just laughing my ass off. Just being super immature about it with like some of the guys that we would hang out with, and
Yeah.
oh man,
Animorphs.
Yeah, some of them didn't get the coolest power. Somebody would be like an eagle or something, and then another
Yep.
person would be a worm.
Well,
I mean, I
Yeah.
never.
they had
Yep.
like one spin-off series or something where it was like about like the first Animorph. Y'all remember that one?
No, I
It was
haven't
Yes.
seen that.
it was
Yep.
like he was like kind of like a centaur looking kind of guy, and he was like
Yep.
the very first Animorph. It was actually, from what I remember, like it was dope. But
Yeah,
I did, you know, they those books were awesome, dude.
I never read a single one, but the covers were like interesting to look at.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny is that I read the Del Toro's Quest, but I didn't read anything outside of that because I mean Goosebumps too. Because you know, you look at the artwork, you're like, it's the art that grabbed you. You're like, that's what I want to fucking read or pick
Right.
up. It wasn't about like the stuff that was on the inside. Like I could give two shits. It was, you know, it was all about the artwork for me. I mean, dude, I remember this is super old, right? This is the very first thing I bought from the Scholastic Book Fair. How to Draw Spider-Man, right? You know, this thing is like, you know, it's gone. This book is gone. It's taped inside and out, but it was like, dude, you know, teaching you how to draw Spider-Man. I was like, dude, that I gotta fucking have that. And you know, $5. I like, dude, my dad would never buy me shit, dude. You know, and just to get $5, you know, was like impossible for it. It was impossible.
Right.
So this was the only thing that I was super happy about. But yeah, like that kind of stuff, that's what I was like there for. Like always artwork.
Nice,
Yeah.
very nice.
Did you when you were, go ahead, Ken?
No, I didn't have anything. Go ahead.
So was that kind of your before the Kubert School? Were you like drawing like in like high school and stuff too, or did you kind of like? I know. I guess you said you were kind of making some comics before that, right?
Yeah, I was drawing in high school, but I wasn't like I was making art. I didn't start taking art seriously until I was, you know, I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Because that put a whole perspective in my life that I was like, dude, I want to be an artist. I can't just fucking, you know, not do this. I have to. I got to. This is what,
Right.
you know, I've always wanted to do, and I can't. I was, you know, I was a pain in the ass, dude. I was getting in trouble. I was getting suspended. Detentions every Saturday, every day. Dude, I was a big ass troublemaker, man. I was doing everything under the sun, and you know, just there was a certain point where, you know, in my life where shit just turned upside down real fast, and I had to climb myself out of it. And that there was a point where I was like, dude, I want to be an artist. You know, I really want to, and this is what I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
Right. Would you say right now the situation you're in right now is the hardest you've been in terms of the comics industry, or you've been in more difficult in the past?
That you know, it's funny, that answer is so easy, but it's also really tough because I'd say it's definitely not the hardest time. From when I was 18, 19 years old. I'd say 19. That was when I started taking it seriously, hauling ass on artwork. My older brother and I, we were both artists, but
Right.
you know, I was doing 99% of the work. You know, I was the one. You know, that's how that partnership, if you want to call it, played out. And we were both arguing about creative differences, both thinking that this is exactly how you're supposed to do it when it's really not. And it was super hard because, you know, I had to create these garbage ass comics where, you know, none of the titles were mine. They were all his. I'm like, you know, doing all this artwork that was his stuff. And I was like, well, you know what, I got to go to Boston Comic Con, and you know, this is, you know, get it spread out, get people to kind of know who I am. And I was going through waves of depression and stress and whatnot, because I was like, well, dude, I don't know, like, if this is what I want to do for a career or whatever. Like, is this gonna work or is it not gonna work? And then I go to Boston Comic Con 2016, and I'm sitting there at the table, and people are coming up to me, buying my stuff, talking to me. And I'm telling you, that was a fucking drug rush. I was so high off of just the endorphins that was like overhauling inside me, that I'm like, damn, like, people are into my artwork, like,
Right.
and, asking about my stories and stuff. Just being there, talking to other creators and whatnot. I was just so, I was loving it. And that weekend went by so fast. And when I got home, I was super depressed for like a week. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was like, dude, I want that. Like I want to go back. I want to do it again. And
Right.
I was like, I need this. Like, I need to make artwork because I gotta have that rush again.
Yeah, dude, that's kind of one of those things where, we talk a lot about it on the show, but whenever you're making books, whenever you're drawing, you're so lonely, you're so in solitude at the table just drawing. As soon as you start getting out to those shows, you start meeting other people that are doing stuff that you do, new fans, all that stuff, dude. I mean, it's fun. Are you still pretty big into the con circuit right now? Or are you
I can't afford going to cons. I mean, people invited me to split a table with them, and there we go. But
yeah,
at the moment, it's just not a good thing, and it's just I gotta get this work done. I gotta get the campaign funded, because what's the point of going to fucking? I mean, if I don't get this campaign funded, right, then the money that I would supposedly use to pay for con tables would have to pay Ken, Nick, and Ethan out of my pocket, and where I would have gotten it from the fund. So I'm working on a fixed income for Indiegogo, so it's all or nothing, because I don't trust it myself yet to, like, people are paying over time and then the money just goes straight in my account. What the fuck am I gonna do with that? It's only like $25 here and there. It's not gonna do nothing. So I'm really just trying to push to get this funded so I can get that stuff taken care of. Otherwise, wave goodbye to cons.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, cons are expensive, dude, especially out of state ones. It's freaking wild.
Mm-hmm.
Good, Ken.
Yeah. I guess in closing, like, what would you say to other aspiring creators out there who are trying to get into the industry and they're confused, they don't know which way is up? Like, would you inspire them to get into comics, or would you tell them a different career?
What was the first
Jay Lee on us?
What was the first thing you said? Because you kind of cut out a little bit for me. I apologize.
Oh no, it's all good. I said, like, for indie comics creators coming up now, would you encourage them to get into the industry? Discourage them?
Of course. I would, because it's not just about the indie comics. It's comics in general. So if you're trying to be an artist, you want to just do art, you want to do the artwork, try to get a job in the industry, working, at Dynamite or Dark Horse or fucking Marvel and DC. As much as the politics and all that stuff, that correctness upsets me, I still want to go ahead and, be like, yeah, I did a Conan issue, or I did a couple issues of Red Sonja, or whatever, who cares? I don't really care about it, because I want to have a reputation of being an artist. I don't want to be that fucking troll in the end on the other side of the screen, being like, "Oh my god, comics! Like, oh my god, I can't stand what's going on." And then I don't draw anything for it. Like, I'm just sitting. I don't want to be that. So, like, anybody who's trying to be an artist and they're trying to get in, work in the industry, but also work on your own stuff. If you got an own character, work on that, and then make it, get that comic made and use it as a portfolio, to these companies you're trying to make. Because a lot of these companies, honestly, they, instead of looking at a portfolio of your work, they want to see if you can put it together a comic book at the end of the day. Because that's gonna tell, because that's the final result, the finished product, to see if you can create it and make it look great, you know, front to back. The narrative storytelling's on point, the color schemes and the lettering's there. That's what they care about. You know, we're past that point of, you know, bringing your portfolio over, and then you go ahead and you look at, and they look at it, and they're just looking at a stage of pencils. They want to see if you can do the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. It's like the best business card in the world is pulling out a full 24-page comic and putting it into an editor's hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you say your goal is to still one day get published, or do you just want to go self publish like your whole career?
No, both. I want to self-publish and work. You know, dude, there's some characters I really want to get my hands on just to draw for like a few issues, or just, you know, just get the opportunity to, you know, I would like to get my hands on Zen Intergalactic Ninja, you know, work on a couple, you know, love to do that. I would love to go ahead and get a chance to work on, you know, Red Sonja or Vampirella. Or even, you know, if I like Marvel and DC, dude, I would like to work on some of those offbeat characters, like, you know, Blue Beetle or Booster Gold. Just, you know, random, you know, just to give me the random shit. Hellboy. Dude, Scud, if I could do Scud, you know, like the random stuff, because you know, it's all there. It's all fair game. It's all fair game, and I don't think anyone should limit themselves to, you know, oh, I'm strictly indie because of this, and this, XYZ. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You're hurting yourself in the foot. You're also ruining the amount of opportunities of connections of people you meet. Because the guys, like, dude, like we just said, Nick Patera, he's a published artist. He's worked in the industry. You know, if you were like a full-on indie guy, I don't think you would have ever come across him. Like, no, he's whatever. He's a published guy, and I don't want to fuck with that. You know, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
nice,
for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, that's the best thing, having like a balance of both of it. Go ahead, Ken.
Oh no, I was just gonna wrap up by showing the Voyage.
Yeah, go ahead and
once again
put it up here on the screen. There it is. One more time.
Yep.
Oh, there's Air Rider too. Let's go.
Yeah, just in the little corner there.
Oh, what?
Let's go.
That's the real reason. And up on there. Damn self-promoting bastard.
We got another one of our buddies characters on here. His name is Troglodyte. He's really cool.
Actually, no, Ken, I just came up, it was an idea a couple days ago. It came up to me. The story was gonna call it Shits and Giggles. That was the title of the story.
No, I heard about that on that stream you did.
Oh yeah, okay. So you know, like, for the people who are listening in on the stream, you know, and for you, Nico, you know, it was just, it happened, but you know, I was like, dude, I'm so. Wouldn't it be cool if you if I did a story where, you know, 10-page story where it's called Shits and Giggles, and it's a bunch of OC characters, like my character, Ken's character, Axe Wielder John, or something like, you know, these characters are playing poker, right? And they're interacting with each other with dialogue, and, you know, somebody's cheating, somebody threw the table, you know, this happened, you know, all these things, but it's, yeah, it's a build-up. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, they're getting together and playing, you know, poker or some shit, just something like that. You know,
just
that's
random.
So cool. Yeah, something random. That would be so cool. And I'm gonna do that after this issue's all said and done. Like, I'm gonna be working on a fantasy horror comic, and I think I might do that story and just kind of throw it in there.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Dude, that, like, some of that slice of life-ish type of stuff where it's just like people hanging out, punking on people. Like, I mean, that'd be fun, dude.
Yeah,
cool. All right, Zach, man, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I was just going back. Like,
oh yeah,
any last words on Voyage?
If anyone who's listening, I hope you guys really enjoy this campaign. You know, I still got a way to go, but if you believe in this project, share it out with your friends and family. You know, back it yourself if if you got the funds. If not, you know, sharing it is really important, and that would mean a lot to me. And you know, this book is 48 pages for $15. I packed it with, 32 pages of the first story, 8 pages of the bonus story, pinups, and so much more. And, he's going to come out more in the future. So, it's not the last that you're going to see of him.
That's awesome, man. That's a loaded package, man.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you see like freaking 16 pages for like $15-20. 48 pages, man. That's full color. That's some good work right there in that package.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. But Zach, it was a pleasure having you, man. We appreciate you coming. Go ahead and let the people out there listening know where they can find you, where can they follow you on the socials and all that good stuff.
So where everyone can follow me is Zackary's Art, all lowercase, Zachary with a K, Zackary's Art. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook, Zackary Marois. And yeah, like those are the big spots that I'm constantly on. And if you want to reach out for a commission, be my guest. I'm definitely I got my calendar open. I'm gonna be super busy with running the campaign. But yeah, that's that pretty much sums it up.
Nice.
Awesome. Be sure to check Zach out. Get some commissions. Get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, however many you want. Ken, how about you, man? Where can everybody find you?
Everyone can find me on Twitter. I'm pretty much on there every day, and I'm at thecomicsgrind. And then on Instagram, I'm on there every day as well. That's at ComiCan. And you can also read my webcomic Air Rider High School Hero on Global Comics. And soon I'll have a PDF available for which is a crossover comic that I did with Voyage's character Sondron and
nice
and all that. So I'll make that available pretty soon here.
Awesome. That sounds dope, man. And you guys can find me at Nico_Writes on Instagram and on Twitter. You can also follow me on my Substack at nicorodriguez.substack.com. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week.
Peace.